Hey, there we are. We're on Google Hangouts, man. We're cool. We're hanging out live on air on Google Plus, on Google Hangouts. We have we have a lot. Okay. Now, the lots of stuff going on today, folks. Just lots and lots of things, folks. I mean, seriously. I've never been on Google Hangouts, so give me a minute while I figure this out. Because this is just like really, really cool. And this is just totally awesome. I don't know how this works. I have no idea. So if you guys are on Google Hangouts, go check it out. The Views Express Live. Lots of things going on. The I'm just having a ball here, folks. Anyway, you can also get into the chat room on Spreaker.com. Go to Spreaker.com. Go to Free America Radio Network. Check out all that over there as well. Or if you're on freeamericaradio.us, I'm not in the chat room there. I'm in the chat room at Google Hangouts. This is brand new to me, so give me a minute while I figure this out. I hope that this is cool, folks. I'm just really playing around with the Google Hangouts, man. Check out the Google Hangouts. Anyway, if you're over there on the Google Hangouts, let me know. And you can drop into the Spreaker chat. I'm going to go back and forth. It's kind of going to be a little distracting for me, but I'll try to hit up the Google Hangouts and see who's over there. But drop into the Spreaker chat at Spreaker.com. Look up Free America Radio Network. Drop into the chat there and let me know. So anyway, hey folks, how you doing on this 17th day of September 2014? I'm your host, Reverend Wayne S. Pierce. Let's get into some of the stuff I'm going to be talking about today. Go to Free America Radio on Facebook, if you would please. Thank you very much. And I got to tell you, let me type something here and let people know where I'm at. Go to Free America Radio on Facebook, and I'll tell you what's coming up. And I got a break coming up here in about a minute. So, yeah, about 30 seconds. I'm going to be going to break. So when I come back, I'll go ahead and get into some of the news. What's coming out of Washington, D.C., all that good stuff. What is coming out in Syria and all that, all that stuff, And I'll tell you who's pushing the buttons and pulling the handles. Got questions, comments, or concerns? Even if you disagree with me, Free America Radio at USA.com, and I shall return right after this. Don't wait until another natural or man-made disaster strikes. Have at least 72 hours of emergency gear near you at all times. That includes food. Get your emergency food supply today. Hey, if you're hanging out with me on Google Hangouts, man, cool, thank you. If you hear that in the background, that's cool. Google Hangouts is cool, man. Oops, would help. Catch up on the latest news and controversy and more on the Spencer Hughes Show on Spreaker.com and SpencerHughes.net. You're listening to the Views Express right here on the Free America Radio Network. Hey, folks, this is the Free America Radio Network. This is the Views Expressed live right here for the 17th of September, 2014. And I'm your host, Reverend Wayne S. Pierce, for, yes, the Views Expressed live. Hey, how y'all doing today? Go to Free America Radio on Facebook. Check out some of the articles I have up there. I didn't post too much there today. Just got busy doing other things and didn't quite get on top of it. From Infowars.com, House approves bill to arm Syrian rebels. Excuse me? I thought we already armed them. And now we're going after ISIS, or whatever the hell you want to call it. Yeah, so what in the world is going on there? We arm both sides and then we fight among one another. God. Who's the bully in the world, you know? Who's the bully? From Kane TV, that would be Herman Cain, former presidential candidate. Kane TV, Ninth Circuit rules American flag unsafe for school. I'll let that sink in for you there, folks. From Julie Fox, Libertarian candidate for Illinois Comptroller. She says the 10th Amendment was included in the Bill of Rights with the intent that individuals and states have the right to nullify unconstitutional laws. Nullification is vital to maintaining rights by states nullifying laws not granted to the federal government and by juries nullifying unjust laws affecting individuals. In fact, as Thomas Woods points out, nullification happens all the time. Many of us do it each time we drive on the expressway. Okay. Also from thenewamerican.com, defense officials present dim picture of war against ISIS. Seriously? And from an article from 2013 on Breitbart.com, Homeland Security drones designed to identify civilians carrying guns. I heard about that around that time too. Fusion.net, U.S. official, no evidence ISIS is plotting to cross southern border. Yeah, it's a bunch of bull crap. TheVerge.com, Egypt launches deep packet inspection to help from an American company. Get this. Egypt launches deep packet inspection with help from an American company. Yeah, we'll be talking about that a little bit. Also, coming soon, this is from theblaze.com, coming soon, when a cop points his radar gun at you, it could detect more than just speeding. I heard about this 2 or 3 years ago, folks, where new speed detectors is what I heard them a couple of years ago. They'll have different ways of telling whether or not you're drunk, you're high, you're what. Yeah, so the technology is there, folks. So, Now, I have to ask a question, and who's ever in the chat room, fine, hey, hello. Let me go check, by the way, on the Spreaker side of things. Washington's Radio says hi. Well, hello there. I'm glad you're here. Go to the Google Hangouts to see if anybody's over there. Go check that out as well. But let me pull up the chat. Nobody in the chat, so let me say hello, just in case somebody wants to pop in there and say something. So anyway, let me read this article from TheVerge.com. Egypt launches deep packet inspection system with help from an American company. Russell Brandon, or Brandom, over there at The Verge wrote this. Thank you, Russell. Deep packet inspection is one of the most invasive things a country can do to its internet. Employed by repressive regimes from Russia to Bahrain, it lets governments look into the content of web traffic as it moves over the network. I wanted to emphasize that. allowing them to censor websites in real time and conduct detailed surveillance of citizens' activities on the web. They also require sophisticated equipment, usually provided by a Western company. As a result, DPI installations are usually kept secret for as long as possible. But sometimes they can't. A BuzzFeed report seems to have caught the Egyptian government in the act, confirming that the country is currently installing a new DPI system with a company called that's S-E-E, Egypt, a sister company to an American Blue Coat. Okay, that's a company here in America. Blue Coat got in trouble a few years ago for selling a similar system to Syria, which launched a subsequent State Department investigation, but it doesn't seem to have slowed them down. By the way, the State Department is full of pedophiles and people like that. Go check it out. The Egyptian system is capable of monitoring conversations on most chat apps, including Skype, WhatsApp, and Viber, as well as direct messages sent over Twitter. That capability is particularly important given the central role chat programs played in the country's Arab Spring protests. According to an official in the Egyptian government, the system will be used to monitor Islamists, there we go, if I can say the word, Islamist political activity and anyone taking part in quote-unquote debauchery or quote-unquote homosexual acts. For those living in Egypt, encryption programs like the Tor browser and Chat Secure can still hide traffic from the system when used properly. The Tor browser, yeah, go check that out, folks. Just go to startpage.com and look for Tor, T-O-R, browser. Trust me, it is secure. But some of these hackers already know how to get through it. I don't know how. I just know that they know how. So anyway, the system that we have. Oh, let me remind you, I'm over on Google Hangouts too. If you're familiar with that, I can chat with you over there as soon as I figure out all that stuff. So anyway, the system we have in America is very simple. It's very, very simple. There's nothing complicated about it. By the way, it's been around. The internet itself specifically has been around since the mid to late 60s when MIT and the CIA got together and said, well, we need to do this. Actually, the universities wanted to talk to one another. And then the federal government got involved and decided, oh, hey, let's do this. I've known people to have the internet since, or be online, since probably about 1976, 77. And I remember it when I was in high school, and that was, about that time. But we have a very simple system. And it's so simple, people can hack it. Okay? It's that simple. Since the 90s, I've been online since 95. There has been talk on the fringes, if you will, that people are back then were trying to find ways to be secretive. Okay? But here we are, 2014, almost 20 years after I've gotten on the internet, with all sorts of protection that you and I can have. The only unfortunate part is none of it's free and all of it can be hacked, except for very few things, such as the Tor browser, such as startpage.com. There's just so unseen.is. There's so many things out there that you have to sift through to find the thing that's more secure. And I've done that. So anyway, I don't think any internet security, internet connection is that secure. It's so simple to operate and to implement in any area that any 14-year-old with a knowledge of games and computers and all that can hack that sucker in like a couple of weeks. You know, and it's our system will go down because they have the government says we don't want you, the general public, you and I, to have any access to any information whatsoever. We want to give you the information we want you to have. Well, that's communism, folks. That is pure outright communism. I don't live in a communist country. I live in the United States, which is, prior to 1871, a free and sovereign nation. So why are we sending our military to a free and sovereign nation overseas to occupy it? Can you say bullies? Interesting little tidbit of information coming up as well. From Fusion.net. Homeland Security, no evidence ISIS plotting to cross southern border. Jordan Fabian over there has put this up yesterday. Federal government has no evidence of an imminent plot by the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria to infiltrate the United States by sending operatives across the southern border, a top Obama administration official said Tuesday. Yeah, like we're supposed to believe them. Quote, there is no credible information that there is an active plot to traverse the southwest border now, unquote, Deputy Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas said during an event at the National Press Club in Washington, D.C. Well, has he gone down and talked to the Border Patrol? Has he gone down and talked with the militias that's down there? By the way, the Border Patrol is telling the militia to stay away. They'll take care of it. No, they won't. The Border Patrol has been under orders to just let everybody just come on through. The militia is going, not on my watch, Junior. We're stopping these people at the border. Well, look at Ebola. Look at all the diseases now that have cropped up in the hospitals all over the United States. Okay? You tell me whether or not you want that border closed. I do. It's just the way it is. Top Republicans and conservative media outlets have reportedly warned that ISIS could cross into the U.S. from Mexico. Francis Taylor, another official with the Department of Homeland Security, told members of Congress last week there has been social media chatter among ISIS followers about a potential border crossing, but the group poses no imminent threat to targets within the U.S. Really? What planet are you living on, Francis Taylor? Texas Governor Rick Perry, Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky, House Speaker John Boehner of Ohio, and others have urged the Obama administration to review its border policies to ensure that ISIS fighters cannot sneak across the border. Mayorkas said that DHS is, quote, very vigilant in terms of our nation's security, whether that be by land, by sea, or by air, unquote. Premature to declare migrant crisis over. Over the summer, Washington went into crisis mode when tens of thousands of unaccompanied children from Central America were caught entering the U.S. illegally. Recent statistics show a steep drop in unaccompanied children being apprehended at the southwest border, but Mayorkas said that it's too early to declare the crisis over. You know why they were stopped? Because of the militia, numbnuts. Mayorkas, he's an idiot. Quote, it would be premature at best to declare victory to say that the problem is behind us because we don't know. You don't know because you don't talk to people, that's why. He said, what we have achieved is tremendous progress, unquote. Go read the rest of that article on Free America Radio on Facebook. The facts are the facts, folks. These people are spinning all of this information. The militia's been at the border for quite some time. They've been down there. I've got word that they've been down there. In California, in Arizona, in New Mexico, in Texas. They've been down there. And the reason why there hasn't been that many people coming through is because the militia goes around to places that the Border Patrol doesn't and stops these morons from coming through. I don't know. It pisses me off that people want to spin all of this information coming out, or even Mayorkas is lying through his damn teeth or omitting the truth. Why can't they just come right out and say, hey, the borders are open, we're not going to close them, and if the militia goes down there, there's going to be some problems. Oh, wait, they already have. Yeah, they said that the militia shouldn't go down there. Well, I'm sorry, but this is my country, and I'm going to protect my family, my neighborhood, my county, my city and state with everything I've got. And if these jackasses in Washington, D.C. don't get up off their ass and start listening to us, that would mean you and I, then hey, let's vote them all out. 535 of them fired. Let's just close down Washington. Matter of fact, I challenge people to do this. And you can do whatever you want. You can do whatever you believe in your heart is right for you to do. I'm just throwing this out here as a possible consideration, okay? But I'm also challenging people. Here's what you need to do. If you're near Washington, D.C., pack up your friends one weekend. Hopefully there's like 1,000 of you. And go to Washington, D.C. and just march. March around the Capitol building. And if the Capitol Police, say, what are you doing? You know what you do? You tell them, you hold up the Constitution and the Bill of Rights and say, I'm invoking my First Amendment right by expressing my displeasure with Washington, D.C. That's what we're doing here. So I challenge each and every one of you to do that if you're near Washington, D.C. If you're near your Capitol building in your state, do the same thing there. Tell them you've had enough of this bull crap. I'm broadcasting from the biggest little city in the world, Reno, Nevada. Carson City is like 30 miles away. If you live near Carson City, whether you live up on Highway 50 or Highway 395 or up in Virginia City, Nevada or whatever, just go there. Go there. Just, doesn't matter how you get there. Just go there and tell the governor and the legislators there that you are displeased with what is happening. And make your presence known. The more people around that Capitol building, the more, these people are going to, hopefully, I'm hoping, that they listen. And if they don't, well, we'll make them listen. If they want to sit there and try to outshout us, ain't going to happen. We got the bigger voice because we, the people, know what's going on. Oh, and by the way, did you hear this little statistic here? I think it came out today, was that people are now very displeased, and the ratings for your local, or for the cable news networks and all of that, the mainstream media, the trust that the people had in the it's way down. It is low. People don't trust the mainstream media anymore. They don't. Well, why would you? They lie through their teeth. So anyway, Free America Radio on Facebook, and we'll go to break at the bottom of the hour. I want to you can go find this link on Free America Radio on Facebook, thenewamerican.com. Defense officials present dim picture of war against ISIS. Written by Warren Mass. Thank you, Warren. Speaking before the Senate Armed Services Committee on September 16th, that was yesterday, the nation's two top defense officials, Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel and Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff General Martin Dempsey, presented a less than optimistic prospect of success for the Obama administration's new strategy to defeat the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria. The Obama administration prefers to use ISIL for Islamic State in Iraq and the Levant, whatever the hell that means. A report from the McClatchy, Washington bureau carried by the Miami Herald noted that Hagel and Dempsey outlined a list of hurdles any U.S. plan needs to overcome to defeat ISIS, including uncertainty that Iraqi military forces can be reconstituted to become an effective force against ISIS, as well as uncertainty that a U.S.-trained Syrian force will make fighting ISIS a higher priority than fighting the government of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. They want to take him out. They want to take him out, folks. This is going to be one hell of a battle. Furthermore, noted the report, we cannot even count on the administration's pledge that no American soldiers will engage in the ground combat operations. Remember, Obama said, no, there's not going to be boots on the ground. And then just a couple of days ago, he's like, there's going to be boots on the ground. Yeah, Dempsey said he could foresee circumstances where U.S. advisors would join Iraqi troops. For example, if the militants tried to recapture Mosul in what he called, quote-unquote, close combat advising. I still remember that line out of Star Wars recently. I was watching it, and Hayden Christensen playing Anakin Skywalker was asked, how, it was asked, and his response was, it was aggressive negotiation or something like that. It's like, but now you got to look back in history. And you have to examine these quote-unquote advisors. Remember the advisors that went into Vietnam? Remember that? And why do you need 1,000 advisors? You know what I mean? And they're all armed, and they all got tanks, and they're all, pulling up to the to the headquarters. They're going, we want to negotiate, but you're pointing guns at them. Okay, it's just. Not a way to negotiate, and not a way to have a good day in your negotiations accordingly. But yeah, it's, what do you do, folks? I mean, here we are. We have become the world's police, no doubt about that, because we are the most powerful. Now, here's the problem. How do you take down a nation? Well, you install a leader, hello, Obama, and he sends the military with no approval of Congress everywhere around the world to get them out of here. But see, what he didn't count on was 200 million people with 300 million guns. So that's how you pull the army out, you pull the military out, and then you cut off all this. There's so many pieces of this puzzle that you put together. There's so many things that levers that you got to pull and buttons you got to push, and that's why I'm tearing away the veil to show you who's pushing them and who's pulling them. And then you get the country weak. You weaken the backbone, the infrastructure of the country, and then you come in and waste everything. You just spend all the money and all this and all, which he's done in the last 6 years. So we're on the verge of collapsing, folks. Are we? Well, let's hope not. I hope other people can wake up to the fact that this administration is a corrupt piece of trash. So I'm going to go to break, folks. Bottom of the hour. You can email me, freeamericaradio@usa.com, freeamericaradio@usa.com. Check me out on freeamericaradio.us. If you want to contribute, great. Would appreciate it. So I'll be right back after this. Hey, folks on Google Hangout. Let's see here. Got to make sure about a couple things here. Anyway. So, with her unique, fast pace and witty sarcasm, anyway, Clark brings you the news of the day with a creative twist. Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern on RadioFreedom.us. You can also listen to her live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM. How you doing, folks?
Lock it on to the best station on the net.
The Free American Radio Network. Hey, how you doing? Are you a filmmaker and want to make your epic feature film with no money, some money, or all the money in the world? Listen to Christopher J. Taylor as he discusses everything you need to know about filmmaking and more on Film 101 on HTLA973.com. Hey, folks, this is the Views Expressed live right here on the Free America Radio Network. If you're over in Google Hangouts, just let me go try to mess around with this for a minute before I get on with the rest of the news. It's kind of weird, folks. I've never done this before, okay? I've never done the Google Hangout. I've never done any of that, so says everyone sees the same video and playlist, so adding and skipping videos will affect everyone, blah, blah, blah. Only you see your search inquiries. There we go. Yeah, let's go back to the Google Hangouts. I'm still trying to figure this stuff out, folks, so bear with me. It says it's broadcasting, so obviously I'm doing something right. Anyway, how's my sound? Is my sound okay? Is it cutting out at all? Is it, because I've been having some difficulties here with a certain browser I'm using. So, oh, yes. Anyway, from Kaine TV, Herman Cain, former presidential candidate. From Kaine TV. KaineTV.com. The Ninth Circuit rules American flag unsafe for school. A heckler's veto. The Ninth Circuit has once again proved its status as the leftmost leaning court of appeals in the country with their refusal to rehear a case involving a banning of American flags in public schools. This refusal means that the ruling that a 3-judge panel issued in February stands, which allowed the Morgan Hill Unified School District to ban American flags and American flag apparel because of threats of violence. Now, some of you might be thinking, that sounds reasonable. After all, we don't want to have violence in our schools. But the issue here is that those who were trying to display the flag were not the ones being violent or threatening violence. Rather, they were the ones being threatened. You see, back in 2010 on Cinco de Mayo, which is not Jose Cuervo's birthday, Mexican students were all set to celebrate the holiday in Live Oak High School in California. Several boys also decided to wear the American flag t-shirts that day and were greeted with harassment and threats. A principal pulled them aside and told them to take off their patriotic gear or go home. The lead counsel for the case, William J. Becker Jr., responded to the court's decision to back the bully and ban Old Glory. Quote, "The American flag is not a symbol of racism or division," Becker said. "It is a symbol of freedom and unity. Americans have fought and died to protect that flag, and now we are told to conceal it?" so we don't offend Mexican aliens, some of whom entered this country illegally. The liberal judges on the court were forced to do rhetorical backflips to come to this outrageous decision, unquote. In a culture where we see PSA after PSA deriding bullying, it seems odd that the court and the school take the side of the bully. I thought we were supposed to band together and rid the world of people who threaten others simply because they disagree with their message. Isn't that the progressive way? Or maybe, just maybe, that progressive message of tolerance only applies if you are bashing the flag or our traditions and values. After all, that would be progressive. There are progressive people in America. I'm making that statement right now. There are progressive people in America. There are progressive people in politics. There are progressive people who want nothing to do with any and all religions, faiths, denominations, or churches. Okay, there are progressives who want to completely eradicate any type of individuality in our schools, in our workplaces, in our streets, whatever. They honestly want to divide people in their little groups and just keep them out of everybody else's way. Okay? That's called segregation. We had that, and it's wrong. For a society to grow, you need individuality. For a society to grow, to come together, to better itself and individuals along with that, you have to have people with varying backgrounds, whether or not you disagree with them, whether or not you agree with them. You come together and you say, what can I do for you to help you achieve your goals? Okay, that's one aspect of it. The other aspect is, hey, I know that you can help me. You're in a position to where we both can benefit from the involvement in a project. That's the other aspect to look at it. But when you get a group of people together and say, we don't want anything other than what we want, and no one else has a right to bring forward anything that they want, we're just going to, we're just going to rush forward and get this done, and we're going to do whatever. This is the issue with the school. I do not mind at all if there were people that differed with me about issues of the flag being at the school or whatever. I don't mind, because there is a legitimate argument for and against having people in schools, students in schools, being patriotic. So cool, that's a great debate to have, because then you open up and you begin to see the flaws of the system that is trying to suppress those people and their freedoms. So you begin to see this. Great discussion, great debate. But when you have a group of people like these progressives that say, we don't want anyone to have a thought in their head at all, nor have any freedom at all, then we got a problem. Okay? We have a huge problem. And to the degree at which this problem grows, you're going to have more and more suppression. Okay? So, when you have a school that says you can't have a flag, you can't pray at lunchtime over your food, because, the ACLJ has sued a couple of schools because students were doing that, and the school got pissed off and said, well, there's a separation of church and state. No, there isn't. Go look it up. Never was one. It's all false. Okay? It's just, so get that out of your head. So you have these groups of people pushing, prodding, bullying everybody else. That would be the progressives doing the bullying, to tell everyone else, no, we're going to have it our way and you can piss off. You know, everybody has to have a school uniform. Everybody has to do this. Everybody has to do that. Everybody has to look this way. I didn't know we lived in communist China, because that's what they do over there. Now, some people today, I've mentioned the fact that there's no individuality when everybody's all the same and everything, and I remember going to school many years ago, and everybody's different. Everybody had their own, wearing their own, Levi's and shirt and, whatever it was. There wasn't school uniforms. This only came about within the last several years. Now, well, longer than that, about 10 years or so more. I was talking to somebody today and I said, to have everybody in school look the same, to be the same, you're not going to have individuality. You're not going to have the personal identification that sets that person apart. And this person that I was talking to said, no, that's wrong, because, and they referred, when they were in school, they were, had uniforms and all that, and everybody was thinking individually. No, on the surface, that's what it may look like, but the overall goal of these schools, these governmental indoctrination institutes, is to get everybody on the same page. And, well, it reminds me of Another Brick in the Wall by Pink Floyd. Seen that video? Exactly like that. Everybody sits at their chair with blinders on and looking at the books, well, now it's like looking at the computer screen, and this is what you do, and you don't steer, you don't go around anything. You just they do this and you have to do it this way. I mean, that's what they want. And when you don't have, let me rephrase that. When you have a group of people who not only individually are suppressed from self-identification and self-motivation and self-determinism, you're going to have a bunch of biological robots, period, end of sentence. This is what's happened. This is how it's happening. And you're going to have a huge, huge problem. So when you have a school telling everybody else, you can't bring your flag, you can't do this, it's going to upset somebody, you're going to offend somebody, you know what? There was an article, and I don't have it up here, but I did share it on my timeline. As soon as it comes up, I'll try to find it. But there was a school that I guess somebody was pissed off, and the school said, well, you got to, take your flag down. So I guess the whole neighborhood around that school got wind of it and said, no. And they went to that campus and walked around with, or drove around with, the American flag. So, I can't find it. I'm looking for it. I just can't find it. So when you have a group of people that say this is how you're going to do things, you're not looking at a situation that's going to be good. The goal is control, power and control. That's what Washington, D.C. wants. That's what their controllers are ordering them to do, and therefore this is what it's looking like when it comes to each one of our governmental indoctrination institutes, whether they be elementary schools or colleges, high school colleges, community colleges, whatever. Here is a challenge for most people, and I know you probably won't, meet this challenge because it's too difficult and you fear too much. But it's time that we go on these campuses, whether you're a parent of a high school student or not. Maybe you're a parent of a college student. Maybe you're a parent of a, fifth grader or something, You need to go onto the campus, look at the principal, and say, I have a constitutional right to be here. If you're going to have me arrested, then I have a right to sue you. My child will express themselves, and they are protected by the Constitution. You need to, and I don't want to put words in. You don't have to say that or anything. You need to say what is right in your situation. In other words, get up in the school district's face and tell them, I'm not going to take this BS anymore. You get Common Core out of here because that's indoctrinating my kid with complications, and now I've got to deprogram this kid when they come home, and because I'm responsible. I mean, you got to push these people to the limit. Now, I've heard stories as well that parents have tried to do that and got arrested, but I would rather get arrested and get my voice heard and then go to court and sue the school than get it on the news. You notice that in several cases, by the way, where the parents have stood up to the school and said, this is what you're going to do, and it got to the media. Did you know that the school backed down? Have you heard about that? The school went, oh, God, now it's in the media. We can't. Yeah. Push it. Push it. If you have an idea to go to the school with your child, say your child's in high school, call the media outlet, your local media outlet. You give them the information, of the Constitution, and this is the school, and, they're doing this in Common Core. You give them all that information. You talk to them first and say, I want you to have a reporter go to the school with me. I'm going whatever day you pick, and then you go and you confront the school, making the school fully aware of the fact that you have the press standing next to you. Oh, I'm sure they'll back down. I'm sure they'll back down. If they don't, then I'm sure there's some budget legal services or some sort of free legal service in your area that you can go talk to. But the best place I found, and I would have to say the best place that I've learned and still learning more about the laws in this country is KrisAnneHall.com. That's KrisAnne Hall.com. Or go to the ACLJ, the American Center for Law and Justice. Talk to them. What's it going to hurt to email them and ask them a question? You know what I mean? Go to KrisAnneHall.com or specifically first, and I'll put that one up on the Free America Radio Facebook page, and excuse me, I hope that's it. I don't know. Yes, there it is. Yes, right there. It's on Free America Radio. Liberty First. KrisAnne Hall is Liberty's lobbyist. Okay? And then, of course, American Center for Law and Justice, ACLJ.org. It's up there on Free America Radio on Facebook. Just ask them questions. Give them a scenario. you know. Or even so, let me put this up there too. I just thought about this one too. Go to John Whitehead's firm, Rutherford Institute. Go to, I believe it's rutherford.org. Let me take a look. Yes, right there, I believe. Dedicated to the defense of civil liberties and human rights. So I'm not an attorney, and I don't want to give law advice. Those are the places to go to. Putting them right there on Free America Radio on Facebook. There's a lot going on, folks. There's a lot going on in terms of how we receive and interpret the information that's out there. I tell it straight. I give you the truth, one fact at a time. I tear away the veil and show you who's pushing the buttons and pulling the handles. That's what I do. You know, today I was doing some research and thinking, geez, you know, I bash a lot of people, you know, and I tell them that if you don't like America, get the hell out. If you don't like our laws, go to China or Russia. If you don't want to be a citizen here, leave, you know, whatever. You know, but then again, I'm thinking to myself, why am I wasting, you know, perfectly good time to be, you know, pitching a fit to those people and telling them how much of an idiot they truly are if they can't wake up to what's going on? Why am I wasting my time? You know? I look at it this way. They waste no time to try and suppress our freedom of speech, our freedom of expression, our freedom of assembly, our freedom of filing a grievance against our government, filing a petition against our government. They waste no time to bring down their liberal laws and their liberal attorneys and their liberal courts on us. So why couldn't we do it to them on a patriotic side? You know what I'm saying? So it is incredibly odd to me, and here's my point. It's incredibly odd to me that people cannot wake up, just look out there. And I get emails and I get messages, people saying, well, you know, how do you know we're not awake? You know, we know all this stuff. Why are you telling us this? And, you know, why don't you think we're awake and aware and all? It's like, well, you never say anything. You know, you never talk about it. I'm always talking about it. If you go to my Facebook page, I'm always talking about it. You can find me on Reverend Wayne S. Pierce on Facebook, by the way. That's my personal site. But more than anything, go to Free America Radio on Facebook. I'm going to start using that page more. You can Twitter me, by the way. Yes, you can Twitter me your tweets, you twits, at, here it is, at Real W.S. Pierce. That's Real Whiskey Sam Pierce. Okay? Just, that's over on twitter.com. Check it out. And I don't know, folks. I mean, we have to really understand what's going on. And the only way that we're going to understand what's going on is if we open our eyes and listen and pay attention. And most people are going, hey, man, who's on Dancing with the Stars? What football game is up? Man, we got baseball. Man, I got to take my kids to softball. I got to do that. What? I got a life to live. I can't spend all my time thinking about that. Oh. No, I'm not saying spend your time thinking about it. You know, I get out of here too. I got a life outside of this radio show. I go do stuff. I do voiceovers. I take the time to do that. I do promos. I record those, you know, and that only takes me a few hours. It's no big deal. But then I get out and I go do stuff. You know, this morning I went for a walk. It's just like, yeah, okay, I'm going to get out of here for a little bit. So I went for a walk. I came back. I was more energized, and here I am. But anyway, and this is what I do, folks. And you can help me do more of this. Yes. Go to freeamericaradio.us. You can find ways to contribute to Free America Radio Network if you can. I would appreciate that very much. Bitcoin, I do accept Bitcoin. There is emergency food supply there. Get as much as you can because, crap's going to hit the fan and you never know. Your power might be out for 72 hours. Who knows? You might need something to eat. So there you go. Or bigger issues might ensue and therefore you might have to, leave on a moment's notice. You military folk know what I'm talking about. Or you can sponsor the show. If you want to sponsor the show, it's not going to break your marketing budgets because my prices are very, very low. Trust me. Go to freeamericaradio.us, go to the sponsors page, check it out. You can contribute through Bitcoin as well, or you can buy the emergency food supply that I have there at the top of the page. Or there's 2 links there, by the way, to 2 separate areas. So please do as much as you can, if you can. This is listener-supported radio, and you are the backbone of the freedom in this country. Free speech, getting rid of net neutrality. We need a free and open internet to have shows like this. Even if you don't agree with me, that's fine. Don't contribute. Not a big deal. But if you find it helpful and educational, great. Do what you can. I would appreciate that very much. And there's other shows on Free America Radio Network, by the way. The Wayne S. Pierce Show, which is a show hosted by yours truly. And I talk about things I don't talk about on this show. And I'm working on some exclusive stuff. And I'll tell you more about that later, but I just want to put it out there that it's going to be a subscription site. And it's not going to kill you. It's the price of a freaking latte at Starbucks a month. So, I mean, you walk into Starbucks, you get a latte. You could have just, paid a subscription for a month for my site. But I'm working it all out. But you can still get stuff free over at freeamericaradio.us. Not free per se, but I'm saying the player for this show is up there. If you're listening live, just hit the player button and you'll be listening to this show live. Again, if you want to sponsor, please do. If you want to contribute, please do. Please help yourself out to all the emergency food supplies that you can get. Please, I encourage you to do that. Things are not looking good, folks. And who knows? Never know when the next natural disaster is going to happen. Never know when you're going to see militarized law enforcement come down your street. Well, if that happens, it might be too late. So have an exit plan. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, any type of contributions that you can give, great. Thank you very much. And if you don't want to contribute, please share this show with other people. Appreciate that very much. Going to go to the top of the hour break, folks. We always do that, and it is my pleasure to come to you every day and give you the information about who's pushing the buttons and pulling the handles and all of that. So I really do appreciate your listening, your sharing, and your contributions. Appreciate that. If you have any questions, comments, or want to interact with me, please email me. Even if you disagree with me, I'm okay with that. freeamericaradio@usa.com. freeamericaradio@usa.com. I shall return right after this.
Late Night in the Midwest, alternative media covers the truth, theory, fact that the mainstream media won't talk about. We cover everything you know, the unknown, the normal, the terrible. The government lies, the government comes. Even their fraud. We tell what's coming, what's going, whether it's in politics or archaeology. We have an amazing fan base, and our shows are all archived to be heard millions of times more. So tell your friends, your family, anybody you care about LateNightInTheMidlands.com. Become a member and be informed. Get your morning started with the morning brew on 92.6 The Blitz. Music from the 60s, 70s, and more. The Blitz 92.6. Go to radiorocktheblitz.blogspot.com.
Free Talk Live.
To give someone an ounce of liberty and they'll go around abusing it and harming everyone else with it.
If we legalize guns,
People will be shooting people everywhere.
Right.
If you legalize prostitution, people will be having sex on the street corners. If you legalize drugs, we'll have heroin vending machines in the streets. We've heard it all on Free Talk Live. They take it to the most absurd, illogical extremes, and you're absolutely right, Alexander. It's okay for them to have freedom.
You can give them a gun. They won't go around shooting people, but watch out with their neighbor because you give them a gun, they'll go around in a rampage around the city killing everyone.
Oh, but yes, they can be trusted, and apparently the government can be trusted too, because magically, we only elect the best of the best, the cream of the crop. The bureaucrats that are administering these programs are the upper echelon of society, the most trustworthy individuals.
Sometimes when I squint, I swear I can see a halo above their head.
Free Talk Live. 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern. Live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Are you tired of the mainstream media? The media that is so biased, you wouldn't even let your dog listen to it. Well, there's an answer. Angel Club. Just listen to her ads. One hell of a writer, and I've read a considerable amount of her articles, and quite impressive. I tell Angel, my life has void of meaning.
I want to thank you for saving my goldfish from drowning. I love Angel Clark's honesty and her concern about people. She is very dedicated. Angel, we need to.
Angel's a sexy woman. I think she's going to go places in the universe. Ladies and gentlemen,
If it wasn't for Angel, you saved his life, and I will be indebted to you forever. So since Angel.com.
be a part of Angel's army.
Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. on RadioFreedom.us.
Free Talk Live.
Hey, folks, if you're still on Google Hangouts, I'm here.
Wondering what this country's going to do if we had some sort of apocalypse like that.
Like a
What are
zombie
we
attack.
going to do?
People coming
Yeah,
out
like
of the ground, like in
zombies.
Thriller, like in
No,
Michael
like
Jackson's
28
Thriller.
days later, like a virus or something.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
people don't come back alive.
Well, no, there are different kinds of zombies out there.
now,
But let me go through the types of zombies. I mean, you've got the ones that can crawl out of the ground, right? And then she was talking about like an infection kind of zombie. Resident Evil, for instance. So ideally, if you're going to have to perish at the hands of a zombie, which would be the preference? Would you prefer to have your brains eaten, or would you prefer to become one of them?
I think I'd rather just die.
Yeah.
The last thing I'd want is, of course, the people you split up with, and I'm talking my wife and my child. I'm coming back. I'm wanting to eat Laura's brains. It's bad. It's bad.
Free Talk Live. 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern. Live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM. What does freedom mean? Tune in to LRN.FM to find out. LRN.FM is the Liberty Radio Network. A collection of live talk radio and podcasts, all coming from a principled pro-liberty perspective. LRN.FM show hosts aren't left, right, or conspiracy kooks. You can tune in 24/7 to LRN.FM via your phone, computer, satellite, and more. Listen free anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Hey, folks on Google Hangout. I know you can't hardly hear the music. That's okay. I hope. Still trying to figure it out. So here we go. Hey, folks, how you doing? This is the Views Express live for the 17th of September, 2014. I'm over on Google Hangouts, so if you want to go hang out with me there, that's fine. I'm also on Spreaker.com, Free America Radio Network on Spreaker.com. I'm also on FreeAmericaRadio.us. Go check that out as well. If you want to contribute, sponsor the show, or donate, please do. I would appreciate your support. Anyway, here we are. Go to Free America Radio on Facebook, if you would, please. Thank you very much. Oh, jeez. I got some things up there. There's a YouTube video. It's entitled Breaking UN Dumping Thousands of Potential Syrian Terrorists into USA. Okay, just putting it out there for folks. TheBlot.com exclusive. PD says no limits on Stingray use. Isn't that fun? We're just being monitored all over the place, folks. We're just being monitored. There's a video up there by, I believe it was Leanne McAdoo. She was in New York on September 11th, and she talked to a lot of people, and she talked to a New York Police Department officer, retired, and he said that a lot of the NYPD are afraid to come out to talk about 9/11 truth. They know what went on. They know it. ChrisAnnHall.com. Today is the perfect day to remind them the Constitution is the supreme law of the land. Yes, today is Constitution Day. So, yes. Now, I want to go here, as soon as I scroll on down and find this, oh, here it is, piece of information from someone who put this up, and I'm going to name names. This was a Monday. This happened on Monday, and it was somebody with an AT&T cell phone and blah, blah, blah. Somebody put this screenshot up, but I certainly believe it, and I certainly agree with this rant, as they call it. And it says here, her name was Jennifer Harris, and she put up this rant. Excuse me. She said, for those fast food employees striking for $15 an hour, let's do some math. At $15 an hour, Johnny Fryboy would make $31,200 annually. An E1, a private in the military, makes $18,378. An E5, a sergeant, with 8 years of service only makes $35,067 annually. So you're telling me, Sally McBurger Flipper, that you deserve as much as those kids getting shot at, deploying for months in hostile environments, and putting their collective asses on the line every day, protecting your unskilled butt? Here's a deal, Baconator. You are working in a job designed for a kid in high school who is learning how to work and earning enough for gas and hanging out with their equally goofy high school pals. If you have chosen this as your lifelong profession, you have failed. If you don't want minimum wage, don't have minimum skills. I totally and absolutely agree with that. Okay? Here's a situation. Here's something to take a look at, and here's something to examine, even on a personal level, because it really is going to come back to you. If you do anything that is not positive, it's going to come back to you 3, 4, 5, 10-fold if you do something negative. So just remembering that. And I'm saying that in a general, I'm generalizing that statement, as a matter of fact. But let's take a look at this and remember, you are responsible for you. And if you are not able to work, you know, whether through injury or whatever it may be, then okay, there's a system to be able to take care of you at some point. Okay. Okay, so that is needed. Okay, let's put that right there. Number one, if you cannot work or unable to work, then yes, there is a system in place, a process in place to where you can be able to take care of yourself. Okay, let's say you can work and you're looking for, let's just say you're looking for work. You get a job and it pays less than what you believe you're worth. Well, how do you know how much you're worth? Have you looked into the other types of jobs that you're doing? Have you looked at other states and other regions where the cost of living is higher in some regions and lower in some? Have you compared your position to somebody else's, is what I'm saying. And why would you insist in getting paid on what you believe you're worth? Kind of a situation to think about, isn't it? So there's a process by which you can live with that and work through that and be able to do what you need to do. Right? Okay, we on the same page? Here's the third thing. Say you're out of high school, college, whatever, and say you want to go into the military. Well, I don't recommend that, but let's just say you want to go into the military. You go in the military, you do your 4 years, you do your 6 years, you do your 8 years, you get out. What makes you think, because of all that experience you had, what makes you think you're worth any more than $15 an hour? Now you have three separate areas there. You got people in high school that are just coming out, learning how to work, learning how to be responsible, yada yada yada. We all know that. We've been there. I've been there. Okay, raise your hand if you haven't been there. And we understand this. So let me zero in on those folks, on those, Happy Meal burger flippers. And let me ask you a question. What makes you think that you're any better than anybody else to where you demand to make more money flipping a burger? Are you going to go and stand next to that patriot, that veteran who is working in probably the same place, maybe a manager, maybe somebody, or maybe you know a friend who is a veteran? Are you going to stand by him or her and say that person needs to make more money? Because if all you're doing is looking at yourself saying, I am worth $15 an hour, I would have to say that's a little selfish and a hell of a lot arrogant of you to do so. You are so conceited, you don't think that you have any reason to make less. It's like going to work and telling your boss, you know what, today I don't want to be on the assembly line. I want to do your job, and I want to get paid your money. Yeah, you would be on the unemployment line really quick. Okay? I don't even think McDonald's and Burger King and Wendy's and all these fast food joints, I don't think those managers make anywhere near $15 an hour. If I'm wrong, let me know. I don't think they do. So, in regards to this whole issue of these fast food workers wanting more money, I have to say what this person said. Okay? As soon as I find it again. Yeah, it's around, but yeah. If you want to continue to work in a position like that, you're freaking lost already, dudette. You've done failed yourself. And when you put yourself in a position, to make minimum wage, then you must only have minimum skills. It said if you don't, and here it is, if you don't want minimum wage, don't have minimum skills. I totally agree with that. But here's the other thing. People are saying, well, go to school. You got to do this, got to do that, whatever. No, I don't. No, not necessarily. I know people right now that haven't gone to college or anything, and they make close to $30 an hour. They're fortunate enough to get a job that made that much, or, starting out less than that, and of course working themselves up to that point. So, stop bitching. Okay? Because if you and your buddies at that fast food joint you work at go outside and start picketing the place, guess what? That manager's just going to hire people. And you're done. So, where are you going to be? How's that plan working out for you? TheBlaze.com. Coming soon. When a cop points his radar gun at you, it could detect more than just speeding. Liz Klimas over there at Blaze. Thank you, Liz. If you're driving down the road in the future and you see a cop pointing what appears to be a radar gun your way, stepping on the brake to slow down might not help you out because speeding might not be what he's looking for. A Virginia-based company is developing a detection gun that can tell if a person in the vehicle is texting. According to the Virginia pilot, ComSonics, go to startpage.com, look them up. ComSonics is creating a device that picks up on radio frequencies that come from a cell phone being used inside the car. Malcolm McIntyre, the company's calibration services manager, told the newspaper that text messages emit a different frequency than other cell phone activities. Pardon me. This would allow such a device to determine if a driver were possibly sending a text behind the wheel. ComSonics already has a foot in the law enforcement industry in that it offers calibration and repair services for radar and LiDAR equipment. LiDAR, yeah, remember that one? The Virginian pilot reported that this new technology would be similar to its devices that are used by cable technicians to detect leaks. ComSonics QAM sniffer, for example, is able to locate a leak by picking up frequencies from a cable. While McIntyre said the text detecting gun, is quote-unquote close to production, it would still have to gain legal approval and be brought into law enforcement departments. According to Auto Evolution, ComSonic also said at the Virginia Distracted Driving Summit this week that it is still working on a way to find out who in the vehicle might have been texting if there is more than one person in the car. According to the Governor's Highway Safety Association, 44 states ban texting while driving. The Federal Communications Commission pointed out that research has found texting while driving increases a crash risk by 23% compared to a situation where a driver is not distracted. You know where my cell phone is when I drive? It's in my pocket. It's in my pocket, and when I hear the notifications, little sounds for the notifications, I wait to wherever I'm going to get those things. So keep your damn cell phone in your pocket or purse or whatever. You got to drive, okay? That's just the way it is. So anyway, here is detection of people who are texting. And how can they find out who has been texting and all of that? Interesting, huh? Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about, and I shared that article on Free America Radio Facebook page, and I'm going to share this next article here. But my point about the texting is, don't pick up your phone. Just don't pick it up. Don't. I live here in Nevada. Nevada has outlawed even touching your cell phone while driving. Okay? If they see that you have, and it can be just as innocent as, taking it out of your shirt pocket, putting your hand on the wheel with your phone in your hand, and then putting your phone in the little, center console that you may have in your car or your purse or whatever. And highway patrol may see it and pull you over and think that you were texting. Okay? It's that simple to get pulled over. So, don't do it. Okay. The next article here is from dentalbuzz.com. Yeah, gentlebuzz.com. A jolt of current trends, innovation, and quirks of dentistry. Excuse me. Crest toothpaste embeds plastic in our gums. Trish Walraven wrote this back in March on the 4th. And I've put this up on Free America Radio on Facebook. Did you know that the polyethylene is the most common plastic in the world? It is used primarily for containers and packaging, such as these bottles and plastic grocery bags, and has been a concern for the environment because polyethylene lasts practically, forever and isn't biodegradable. It only breaks down into smaller and smaller particles until you can't see it anymore. That's why a couple of states are trying to ban it in body scrubs and dental products. Well, not all of it. Most of it is toothpaste. But do you see those blue specks? That's plastic. This is the suggested pea-size amount that you should use when you brush your teeth. Yes, there is plastic in this toothpaste. Want to see how many pieces of plastic are in the example? There's a picture there in the example. And the author here says, not that I'm counting the bits, but that seriously looks like a lot of plastic or high-density polyethylene. That's what plastic trash cans are made from. If you throw away the box like most people do, the ingredients aren't actually listed on the tube. Sneaky, sneaky, Procter & Gamble. However, I was able to track down the box. Here is the link. We're not talking about polyethylene glycol, which is soluble in water. This stuff won't dissolve in water, or even acetone or alcohol for that matter. How do I know it won't dissolve? Because I put on my little scientist hat and tested it. The author goes on to say, like many of you, we often let our daughter pick out her own toothpaste at the store. She liked the tween vibe of this particular product so much that she chose it twice, but eventually the squeezed out tubes ended up in the back of her toothpaste drawer. When I first got, the author here says, when I first got wind that plastic was in the toothpaste, it was kind of exciting to realize that we had some on hand, and a bit concerning because, after all, this is my own home, used by my own child. Able to confirm that, sure enough, there was polyethylene in this toothpaste. I squirted out a pea-sized sample, mixed it up with water, and strained out the undissolved particles and let them dry on a paper towel. Oh, and I used a hairdryer to speed things up because I'm impatient. Then I shook approximately half of the sample into each of 2 Pyrex bowls and added some household solvents. They didn't dissolve in the acetone, nail polish remover, or in alcohol either. I even left the samples in the solutions overnight, then rehydrated them. No change in the particles. So it has been established here that polyethylene will not dissolve in the mouth or even in household products. It is an inert substance, which means that it doesn't change at all. You know, that's pretty good in some ways because at least it's probably not morphing into big blobs of plastic, evil cancer bait. Here's where the story gets scary, though. The author here says, you see, I'm not just a concerned mom, I'm also a dental hygienist, and I'm seeing these same bits of blue plastic stuck in patients' mouths almost every day. Around your teeth, we have these little channels in our gums, sort of like the cuticles around our fingernails. The gum channel is called a sulcus, and it's where diseases like gingivitis get their start. A healthy sulcus is no deeper than about 3 millimeters, so when you have hundreds of pieces of plastic being scrubbed into your gums each day that are even smaller than a millimeter, many of them are getting trapped. The thing about sulcus is that it's vulnerable. Your dental hygienist spends most of their time cleaning every sulcus in your mouth, because if the band of tissue around your tooth isn't healthy, then you're not healthy. You can start to see why having bits of plastic in your sulcus may be a real problem. Sort of like when popcorn holes find their way into your same areas. Ouch, right? Like I said, the author here says, I've been seeing these blue particles flushed out of patients' gums for several months now. So has the co-hygienist in our office. So have many dental hygienists throughout the United States and Canada who have consulted with each other and realized that we have a major concern on our hands. And this is what an actual polyethylene speck looks like when it's embedded within the sulcus under the gum line. I'm not saying that polyethylene is causing gum problems. I'd be jumping too soon to that conclusion without scientific proof. But what I am saying definitively is that plastic is in your toothpaste and that some of it's left behind even after you've finished brushing and rinsing with it. Do you want plastic in your toothpaste? So far, the only mention of polyethylene on the official Crest website at this link is that it is added to your toothpaste for color, not as an aid in helping to clean your teeth or to disperse important anti-plaque or anti-cavity ingredients. Note, as of September 3rd, 2014, Crest took down the link about polyethylene, but I saved a copy here. Go there, there's a link for it right there. In other words, according to Crest, polyethylene plastic is in your toothpaste for decorative purposes only. Okay? We on the same page here, folks? This is unacceptable, not only to me, but to many, many hygienists nationwide. We are informing our patients. We are doing research separately and comparing notes, and until Procter & Gamble gives us a better reason as to why there is plastic in your toothpaste, we would like you to consider discontinuing the use of these products. There's a whole list of them, folks, and a whole list of what you can do. Okay, so that is up on Free America Radio Facebook page. Let me go look. If not, I will put it up there. So yeah. What do you do? Yeah, there it is on Free America Radio Facebook page. Crest toothpaste embeds plastic into in our gums. So, I mean, what do you do? Seriously. I mean, we know this stuff is happening. We know it's there. We know how all of this is transpiring. And you're just going to sit there and and let it happen? Seriously? It just, I'm dumbfounded. I really, really am. I'm totally dumbfounded. And I really think that we have to do something about this. I really think we need to do something about this. What can we do? What are the solutions? All I can say is you've got to follow your conscience. You got to go where you're led. You have to do what you believe is right for you and your family. Okay? I mean, there's a lot that you have to consider. There's a lot that really has, there's a lot that's been talked about, and not a whole lot of people want to hear it. Why? I don't know. I have no idea why. I just think that there's a, how can I put this? There's this cognitive dissonance. There we go. Cognitive dissonance that seems to be prevailing throughout society here in the U.S. And as far as I'm concerned, people need to wake the hell up. I say that a lot, but you really, really do. Okay? You really have to pay attention. Okay? And speaking of paying attention, I almost went by the bottom of the hour break, so I'm about 2 minutes late. So, hey, folks, email me, freeamericaradio@usa.com, freeamericaradio@usa.com. I shall be back in a minute. Don't go away. What is reality? The foundation of reality is based on many concepts. Each person perceives reality differently. In the book, The Grid by Marie D. Jones and Larry Flaxman, they explore the hidden infrastructure of reality. Get your copy today at Barnes & Noble and Amazon.com. The Grid by Marie D. Jones and Larry Flaxman. Photography is an art form, and Adventures in Photography shows you all of the forms of art there is in our world. Spencer Hughes captures the colors and works of natural art in his book, Adventures in Photography. For more information, go to SpencerHughesPhotography.com. Local radio with a worldwide connection. The Free America Radio Network. Go to www.freeamericaradio.us. Hey folks, how you doing? This is the Views Express Live. We got a few more minutes left here for you. Yes. How y'all doing? You doing good? Are you hanging out with me on Google Plus? Are you hanging out with me? Yeah. Trying something new, folks. So trying something new, so let's just go with it. Let's just run with it, shall we? Let's just do that. Okay. Anyway, there are so many things that we need to pay attention to. Let's go to Free America Radio on Facebook. There was an article I wanted to read to you. Here it is, Infowars.com. House approves bill to arm Syrian quote-unquote rebels. Obama's destabilization plan moves forward. Yeah, we armed both sides, folks. We armed the rebels in Syria. We armed ISIS indirectly through Benghazi, blah, 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 blah. So, yeah, it's just, here, let's arm the bullies and, you know, I don't know. I don't know. House approved President Obama's plan to arm the so-called, quote, moderate Syrian rebels, unquote, Wednesday, despite countless examples of the group's allegiance to ISIS. The bill is expected to pass the Senate Thursday, cementing the president's plan to bring down the Assad government with U.S.-backed radical jihadists, despite arguments between Republicans and Democrats on the bill's minor details. The legislation passed 273 to 176. Yeah. There you go. I'm speechless, folks. I'm just totally speechless. Okay. I don't know where to go from there. We have a president who just really doesn't like the United States. Really doesn't like the United States. He's siding with the Muslim Brotherhood because he has members, well, one was fired, but he has members in his cabinet who are who are known Muslim Brotherhood members. He doesn't like the United States. I don't know what else to tell you. If you like the show, please support it. Go to freeamericaradio.us. You can advertise, you can contribute with Bitcoin, or I would encourage you to get your emergency food supply and as much as you can, and it will help out your family and Free America Radio Network all at the same time. So thank you. I want to read something to you that I wrote this morning, and actually was writing it on my cell phone. So that was, wow. And this is also on Free America Radio on Facebook. You can just scroll on down, you'll see it. It starts out with, okay, hate me or like me. Okay, hate me or like me, agree with me or not, ignore me or not, that's your prerogative. Pay very close attention. If you constantly say you are a moderate liberal who is basically in the middle or has beliefs based on both conservative or liberal ideas, you are essentially kicking the Constitution to the curb and siding with those who are Marxist, fascist, socialist, communists. Note, there are those that will say they aren't, and I exclude them out of this generalization. You know who you are. We cannot have people who are solidly on one side or the other. The party to rule over everyone has and will never work. Neither will being in the middle on important social and national issues. Political parties are pointless. A centralized government is what we were warned about, as well as getting involved in foreign affairs and stirring the political pot in other countries. We are virtually at the end of this experiment of self-governance, and we are headed to complete oblivion because of the mind-numb zombies who listen and watch the state-run media and are inoculated with propaganda in the governmental indoctrination institutes. The spirit of freedom and liberty is upon us, and people are rising up. Those who are against the will of the people, against the ideologies and philosophies of liberty, are challenging the very foundation of the principles that held this country firmly in place for over 238 years. The damage inflicted upon this nation and its people began in 1871. We have been incrementally declining since that point. To all my friends who are moderately liberal, I must say you are engaging in a fight for your life, attempting to break the will of the people who want peace, freedom, liberty, and security for this country. But you must know, you have to know, deep in your heart, you will lose. We, the people who sacrifice body and blood, family and finances, will be victorious in keeping this nation, the United States, from collapsing. The ruling families that have their twisted talons on the heart of freedom will not succeed in their endeavors. It is now time to stand in defiance against all those that have implemented unconstitutional laws that we, the people, have not consented to. More to come. Here's something that I wanted to bring up in this show, because as soon as I find the right link here we go. It's a book by Teresa Zarelli Edelglass called Thrown Under the Bus, The Rise and Fall of the American Worker. It's explosive, no-holds-barred American dream turn American real-life nightmare guaranteed to make your blood boil. Nearly 2 decades of hellish workplace abuse at the hands of not only the author's mean-spirited employer, the New York State Metropolitan Transportation Authority, but also the myriad doctors, lawyers, and bureaucrats with whom she entrusted her life, nearly drove her to the brink of a breakdown. This is a whistleblower story that every American must take the time to read. This is a real deal, people. And if what happened to author Zarrilli Edelglass is any indication of things to come in America as government grows ridiculously out of proportion, watch out. Nobody is off limits. Thrown Under the Bus is gender neutral and appeals to all ages from mature teen on up. It is a great triumph over tragedy story for those who enjoy them, but it is just as much a survival guide for the many downtrodden workers who are bullied out of their jobs every day, not knowing where to turn or what to do to rail against the machine. What you will read here, you will read nowhere else. Excuse me. I was reading ahead. The author was born in Staten Island, New York. The author is a graduate of St. John's University, where she earned a bachelor's degree of science, a Bachelor of Science degree in business management, and a Bernard Baruch, is that what it is? Baruch College, New York, where she earned an executive master of public administration. In 2010, after 19 years of sheer hell, a surprising life-changing experience became the impetus for Thrown Under the Bus. The American middle class is no more. Yeah, I said it. The American middle class is no more. We have a semblance of workers in the middle of the area, and we have these things that really are not, they're not beneficial. Okay? We have these things in the middle class and the working poor that are not beneficial. Okay? And mostly they are labor unions. I'm not against unifying to come together for better, safer workplaces. I'm not against that at all. But I've never seen a union hold that to be the top of the list of things in the company. Never. Okay, never. I've never seen that. If I'm wrong, please email me at freeamericaradio@usa.com. freeamericaradio@usa.com. Put in the subject line radio so I know you heard this particular episode. The unions have outlived their usefulness and serve no purpose. They have outlived their usefulness and serve no purpose. Okay? Now, some people may say, well, you know, unions are good. Look, your father was in a union and your brother's in a union and blah, and there's police and educators and blah, and they're working and blah, and they're making a living wage. No, they're not, folks. The average person that comes out of community colleges or even a university with an undergrad degree, having their ECEs, their you know, the points they need to be able to teach, they don't make anywhere near $25,000 a year. So these people don't get paid enough. That's like, you know, you've heard the argument where, you know, people are saying that police and teachers don't make enough money. Well, that's absolutely true. They don't make enough money. So let's take a look at that, shall we? Let's take a look at that. How much should how much should a teacher make? Should they make $50,000 a year? Should they make $60,000? Well, shoot, let's just push it up to $100,000 a year. Do you want your child's teacher to make more than you? I'm just wondering, but I don't have anything against teachers. I don't have anything against unifying to come together to help those teachers make a little more. I don't have a problem with that. What I have a problem with is the union they belong to. They are all corrupt. They have always been corrupt. They will always be corrupt until you understand truly your worth individually. Okay? Now, I've said it before on this on this program and others. Abolish the minimum wage. Institute and implement a fair market living wage per region. If a teacher in California is making, I don't know, 26, 27, 28,000 a year, and a teacher in, let's say, New York is making 32, but they do the same thing and they have the same qualifications and all of that, well, okay, because California has a high cost of living, New York has a high cost of living. Both on separate coasts, they need to make the money, right? Well, how about this? Somebody in, let's just say, some small town of 100,000 in, let's say, in the middle of Wyoming or the middle of Nebraska or something, and a teacher there makes $18,000 a year. But the cost of living is low, okay, as compared to California and New York. The cost of living is low. So that $18,000 would probably be equivalent to the person making about 30, okay, in a big city. But get rid of the minimum wage. If a person, now going back to the $15 an hour, McBurger flipper, if a person in, let's say, Miami, Florida, high cost of living, right, is making, say, $9 an hour, and somebody, let's say, in North Dakota is making a minimum wage of, let's say, $7.25, that's a national minimum wage, what says that the person in North Dakota is worth any more than the person in Miami, Florida? They don't have the experience to do anything, they only have the experience to do the minimal job that they're doing, to understand what work is, what responsibility is, all that, blah, 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 blah. Right? We all know this. We've been there, right? So my argument is, why do they want $15 an hour? And why is it, going back to the teachers, why is it instructors don't make a whole lot? 15, 16, 25, maybe 28,000 a year? Why? Should people make more because the cost of living is so high? No. I think they need to look at the region, examine the basic cost that of the living that, your apartment, your whatever, you're living in. Look at that, look at basic expenses and say, okay, that's how much you need to make in that region. But then again, you got to look at the other end of that scale. What if that company isn't making the revenue that they projected to make? Does that mean your pay goes down? Does that mean you work less hours? Possibly. They do it all the time. I mean, it's happening anyway. Right? So the argument on both the, on the fast food workers and the teachers is this: a fair market living wage per region. Why not? It's not a minimum wage. It's a fair market living wage. Oh, and I'm sure they want to keep most of their money. So how about a 15% across the board flat tax? Not a fair tax. How about this? No personal income tax whatsoever given to the federal government. How about that? State taxes, that's another issue. Your state has to support itself somehow, right? Am I even close to being practical in all of this? Email me, freeamericaradio@usa.com. freeamericaradio@usa.com. Go to freeamericaradio.us for more information, and go to Free America Radio on Facebook for more information as well. So anyway, how does a business get away with paying just barely over minimum wage? It's the income, it's the profit. It's the profit that the store makes. You know, they got to look at that. They go, okay, I got to pay the vendors. I've got to do the, oh, geez, you know. And the argument is, you know, if you don't, you know, want a minimum wage, or, you know, if minimum wage is all you want, then obviously you've pretty much, you know, failed at living, you know, with that. But how is it a business can get away with paying just barely over minimum wage? And you got to look at the business too. You got to look at all of it. You got to examine, how am I an asset to this business? Hell, I've known people. Remember back in the was it the 90s, just before the 2000s, 2001, around in there, you know, where the big internet boom was happening. It was the end of, you know, the 90s. It was that end of the decade there, and the internet boom, the Netscape and all this, and AOL, and I mean, you name it, they were just, the stock prices were up, and the IPOs were just completely out of sight, and everybody's making money, right? Remember that? And then all of a sudden, boom, fell apart, collapsed. It collapsed under its own weight. It collapsed under its own profits, if you will. Okay? Because mostly it was speculation. I mean, think about it. This company is worth $200 billion when it really wasn't. It's like worth, you know, $2 million. 5 of the people that were working at Netscape, remember Netscape? 5 of the people that worked there got, well, when AOL bought them, they took the money and ran. 3 of those people, I guess, went to work for AOL. I'm not sure. But I think a couple of them, or 3 of them, or whatever, started Mozilla.org. And if you look at the Mozilla Firefox browser, it's same, you know, different looks, but it's the same type of setup as the Netscape. And you can still get Netscape browser somewhere. It's really weird. It's the same people. So, but yeah, it's, I don't know why I went that direction, but oh yeah, look at the bubble. Here's where I was going with this. Look at the bubble. Teachers make so much, police make so much, fire department makes so much, you know, but if you're not making the revenue, you're not going to make that kind of money, and then you're going to get budget cuts, you're going to get layoffs, you're going to get part-time work. And here's the big issue nowadays. Obama's saying that the economy is good, people are working, yada, yada, yada. Did you look at every single person that, I mean, look at the demographics. They're all part-time work. It's not full-time. It's not 40 hours a week. It's not any of that. And if you don't work at all, you get Medicare, and you're doing that, and you're screwed, you know, because you're not working. Then even if you are working, the company you work for is probably not going to offer you anything, because it's going to cost them quite a few bucks just to cover you. It's better just to pay you a fair market living wage give you the opportunity to get your own healthcare coverage and forget about the one that the company offers, because most companies now are just dumping all of it because everybody else is on, either this, whatever it is, Affordable Care Act or Medicare or whatever, So they're just dropping it because it's costing them too much. So anyway, me and my rants. Take it from me, folks. I can go on for another hour, but I won't. The thing that we have to understand is everybody has a particular perspective on things. Everybody has a particular perspective on things. Everybody knows and understands within themselves what they need to do and what they believe is right for them to do. Follow your conscience, follow that gut feeling. But understand what's going on. Pay attention. Have your feelers out there, if you will. Okay? Have your feelers out and just pay attention, because it's right out there in front of your face. Okay? And if you're not paying attention, you're going to trip. And then they got you. Okay? So anyway, tomorrow on the Views Express Live, I don't know what I'm going to talk about, but I will be posting stuff on Free America Radio on Facebook, so go check that out as well. If you want to sponsor this show, you can go to freeamericaradio.us, go to the sponsors page. If you want to contribute, please do. You can through Bitcoin. Okay. And also, please, I encourage you to get your emergency food supply. Please do. You never know. Okay. Get a little bag or something, and and put the emergency food in there with some clothes and some, first aid kits or something, and throw it in your car, throw it in the trunk, do whatever, because if you've got to leave, you're going to need something, okay? And so something to think about. If you have any questions, comments, even if you disagree with me, you can email me at freeamericaradio@usa.com. radio@usa.com. I'm trying the Google Plus Hangouts, so I'm over there as well right now. So if you want to drop in and say, hey, that's cool, I would really appreciate that, because I'm still trying to figure that out. Lots of things going on, folks. Please come join me tomorrow on the Views Express Live. I also do podcasts, so you might want to go check out the podcasts over at thewaynespearceshow.weebly.com, and also freeamericaradio.us has a link as well. And yeah, there's just so much going on, folks. So much going on that I got to get out of here and go research most of it so I can share it with you tomorrow. 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, right here on Free America Radio Network on Spreaker.com and freeamericaradio.us. It's a lot going on, folks. Please pay attention. I just encourage you to pay attention. Please. And also remember this. It's something, yeah. We, the people, have the power. For we are America.